Right. Good evening, everyone. It's 7 o'clock, and welcome to the executive meeting on the 11th of July. Hello, welcome everyone here, and hello to anyone who's watching online. I hope we can compete with the One Show. The first item tonight is item 1, apologies for absence. Are there any apologies? No, no apologies. Good. Item 2. Leader's announcement is just to remind everyone present that we obviously we're online webcast, so please remember to use your microphones. That's important for people to hear us. Item 3, minutes for the 13th of June. That's pages 6 to 12 in the agenda pack. So hopefully people have had a look. We have in front of us the minutes of the committee meeting held on the 13th of June. As I said, are members content for me as leader to sign these? Can I proposed? Thank you. Any seconder? Okay, thank you, Vicky. That's great. Sorry, were there any comments? No? Okay. So shall we have a show of hands, all of those for? Okay, thank you. Anyone against? No one abstaining. Okay, great. Thank you very much. That's carried. Item 4 is declaration of interest. Are there any declarations of interest? Vicky.
The item 7, adoption of the Kingsmead Neighbourhood Plan. I'm the chair of the Kingsmead Neighbourhood Plan.
Okay. Thank you very much. It's noted. Right. Item 5 is Council Tax Reduction Scheme 2024 to 2025, which is on page 13 to 35 of the agenda pack. So I'll hand over to Councillor Carl Britton, Executive Member for Financial Sustainability, who will present the report.
Thank you, Chair. I'd just like to present this report on the Council Tax Reduction Scheme for 2024-2025. It's a government requirement that this is given annual approval. The recommendation is that the scheme remains unchanged for 24-25 and is monitored with relation to caseload numbers, changes to universal credit, and opportunities to maximise automation and efficiency. We'll bring a further report to members early in the new fiscal year for the following year's scheme to account for any changes and to bring forward recommendations for change at that time. The scheme has been the same since 2013, and there is no persuasive argument to make any changes at the moment. This will also give the advantage of additional certainty to residents in this particular difficult time. I propose we leave the scheme unchanged for 2024-25. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Councillor Britton's proposing. Can I have a seconder, please? Miley, thank you very much. So does anyone have any comments or questions on this paper? Captain.
I just want to say I went to a joint revenue and benefits meeting in Stevenage, and I was really impressed by how hard the officers had worked in a time where they'd found it hard to recruit people, that they had managed to take on board all the extra demands from the government for giving out the energy support schemes and COVID relief schemes. So I just think huge congratulations to the staff for carrying on and managing that alongside the normal workload.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. Thank you. Miley.
Thank you, Leader. Yes, I would like to start by thanking the officers very much for this very detailed report and for all their careful considerations of all of the options. I think they have presented a very balanced report, trying to be fair to residents and also to the council. Their task has been made even more difficult by the monthly changes to universal credit, and this has caused extra work for them. So I do thank them very much for coping with all of that. And I think the final recommendation is very sensible and I fully support it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other comments or questions? No, okay. So the recommendation for this item is detailed on page 15 of the agenda pack. So the recommendation is to recommend to council that no changes are made to the council tax support scheme for 2024-25. So please can we have a show of hands on this for those in favour? Thank you very much. Anyone against? And any abstentions? No. Thank you very much. That's carried. Lovely. Right, item 6 is the Waste Shared Services Client Team and Corporate Support Arrangements, which is on page 36 to page 86 of the agenda pack. And Councillor Tim Hoskin, Executive Member for Environmental Sustainability, is going to present the report. Over to you, Tim.
Thank you, Leader. Yeah, the above report was presented to the Overview and Scrutiny Committee on the 20th of June in respect to the outcomes of the member-led working group between East Herts and North Herts and the workshops between senior managers. And this fulfilled an undertaking by the executive in 2022 to outline the governance and customer support relation or corporate support arrangements, which would be put in place when the new waste and recycling and street cleansing contract comes into force in 2025, a process that's in play at the moment. The proposal supports the council's goals around digital transformation and seeks to ensure that residents across the piece receive a consistent service, whether that be in East Herts or North Herts. And the report doesn't seek any major changes from the existing arrangements. Indeed, it's proposed that each council will now lead on its own customer service provision with minor changes to governance and financial management arrangements to suit. At the Overview and Scrutiny Committee, there were several questions asked to which the Shared Waste Services Manager and I responded, and those are captured fully within the draft minutes for that meeting. And after being put to the vote, a vote was taken and the motion was declared carried. So my recommendation to the executive is that the 4 recommendations outlined in the document are supported this evening. 5, beg your pardon.
5, yeah, 5, 8 to E, yeah. Okay, great. Thank you. So, Tim, you're proposing, can we have a seconder? Thanks, Carl. Thank you. And any questions, comments? Joe.
Thank you. So this is my second term as a member. During my first term as a member, customer service aspects of waste and this contract were probably, well, definitely the biggest single reason that residents approach me in terms of casework. I'm pleased to say over the last year, I've had a lot less complaints, but I just wanted to welcome the fact there's a huge emphasis on customer service and streamlining customer service with the intention of resolving complaints or queries at the first point of contact. Yeah. That's very positive.
Thank you, Joe. I think that is one of the central themes of the report. It wants to ensure that the customer experience is not only similar across, it won't be exactly the same, but similar across East Herts and North Herts, but does seek to take some of the jumble out of the way between the customer service inquiry and the resolution.
Thanks very much. Any others? Vicky? Yep.
I'd just like to ask Councillor Hoskins whether it would be possible to give full warning of when streets are about to be cleaned, because I know that residents have given quite a lot of feedback that they haven't been able to get their cars out of the way in time because they didn't know it was going to happen.
I think probably the simple answer is no, I can't this evening, but I'm quite happy to take that away and seek some sort of response. The intention, of course, is to deliver a service on street cleaning, pavement and gully cleaning that actually fits people's needs. But equally so, I guess for every instance where a street hasn't been warned, there are equally streets where warning has been given and cars are still left in the street. So I guess it's it's a difficult area to absolutely coordinate. But yes, I'm quite happy to go away and take that up with the officers and come back with a formal response on that basis. I would hope, and I don't know this, but I would hope that within the new contracts we can bring forward a sort of emphasis on those aspects.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Marnie.
Thank you, Leader. I welcome this report, and I would like to thank the Working Party who gave up so much of their time and effort for all the work that they did. It was a very detailed and, yes, an intensive program, everything that they had to look at. So I would like to thank them for that. I do like the principle that we should work with another council. I think that brings benefits to both of us. Possible cost savings, and also we can learn from each other, and we can learn from their good ideas, and we can then adopt best practice. So I think this is the whole thrust of this partnership is extremely good. I particularly like, yes, well, there are some things that North Herts do better than we do, and some things that we do better than them. So between us, we should be able to achieve a better service for the whole community. So I think that is very good. There's one thing which I like particularly, and this is, oh yes, well, 3.2, East Herts has now agreed to have, we're going to have a customer service officer, which will be good because previously North Herts have done better with their customer relations than we did. And then there is another thing which I really like, which is about consulting and informing the public. And I'm trying to find it, sorry. I think it's 3.30. And that is engaging the community. Yes, and this will be, the service change will require significant focus on communications with a need for additional resource to deliver more targeted campaign work. A new dedicated waste communications officer post was identified and agreed at Executive East Herts Council last October. I think that is excellent. And then some of the campaigns, there'll be targeted local communications, all about certain materials for recycling. And this will also include working with local schools and community groups for face-to-face communications. And I really do welcome this, because then I think this will be proper engagement with the community, and then we shall be able to work with the community to achieve a really good service. So I welcome this very much. Thank you, Peter. Thank you.
Thanks, Marnie. Other questions? Graham, I saw your hand came up.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I do welcome this report, but I would, wouldn't I?
Yeah. Hope so.
And it's good to hear the endorsement from various members of the work that's been done. And you're quite right, the Councillor Goldspink, the workshops were very intense over a very short period of time. A lot of people were involved, a lot of councillors, and there was a lot brought together to streamline the future contract. There's been lots of lessons learned from the current contract, how it was set up, what we've done during the course of the contract, etc. Some of the challenges are that it's two separate collections rather than sort of the whole of the area being looked at. The IT, that's really been a challenge. The financial systems, two different financial systems, and there wasn't a method to sort of actually bring it to the board, one sheet of paper, the financial reporting. And I see in the report now that we've actually got that there. There will be a report moving forward. On the customer services side, it was really two different customer services, and the KPIs were North Herts had KPIs, East Herts didn't have KPIs. And I've been assured by Ben that East Herts will come up with KPIs, and they will be aligned with the best KPIs between North Herts and East Herts moving forward. The other area was in the IT, how we actually merge the systems and have online forms. Now, moving forward, we're halfway through sort of current contract, but the next contract will be started in, I think it says May 25 rather than April. I'm not quite sure. There must be a reason for that in the report. But we've really got to get the IT correct at this time and moment for moving forward, because whatever we do now, it will be the digital age. In the contract will be 8 years, maybe with a 5-year extension, that's 13 years hence. Yeah. So we've got to really ensure that the IT side of it is correct. One of the areas I've got a few questions, but I think we don't have an officer, so I won't ask all the relevant questions. But on the setting up of the contract, when it comes together, it says that, and I think the IT, there's going to be estimated costs for the budget workshops in October this year. Is anybody here that can confirm that the IT will be in a position ready for the future, whatever? But what I do welcome is that East Herts will be taking on the payment from the customers in 2023, if I'm reading the report correct, which is something that we've strived for a long time. I'll leave it there for the moment if anybody's got any comments. I've got comms and marketing, if you want me to do that at the moment. That, it should have been together in the past. It wasn't, it was two separate systems. And calendars that went out North Herts and East Herts on social media was two different systems, and we laid great emphasis in the workshop that it should be one team that's looking after this, or one person overseeing it, and it's the same message that's been communicated out to both East and North Herts, and I think that's in the document here. And yeah, that's it. I'll leave it there for a moment.
Thanks very much, Graham. No, and you know, and all credit is due. You know, that all that work was done under your watch, so thank you. Tim, was there anything that you wanted to add, or?
No, that's fine. I thank Councillor for his continued support.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, in fact, did officers want to comment? Probably not. I think without the waste officer here, that's fine. Any other questions? Anything else? Okay, all right. So so we've got five recommendations in front of us for this item, as detailed on page 36 and 37 of the agenda pack. Recommendations A to E. Can we take a show of hands to indicate whether we are in favour or against? All those in favour, please. Thank you. Anyone against? Thank you. And any abstentions? Nope. Thank you very much. So that's carried. Great. Okay, item 7. This is the adoption of Kingsmead Neighbourhood Plan, which is on pages 87 to 224 of the agenda pack. I'll just wait while Vicky leaves the room. See you in the pub. Great. So as Vicky said, she was the chair. So I'm really delighted to introduce this report and propose it for adoption tonight. A neighbourhood plan is obviously an important planning document for the residents, and the Kingsmead Neighbourhood Plan is it has a strong vision for sustainable development, and it will be a very positive addition to the East Herts development management process. I think it's important to pay tribute to Vicky, who chaired the neighbourhood plan and put in a huge amount of time and effort in developing that. But I also know that it was a real community effort. I think there was a team of around 14 others who were involved day to day, week to week, working on the plan. But there was also a wider contribution from about 50 other residents and local councillors during that period. And it was obviously supported by Hertford Town Council, like the other plans have been here. And much of the work was done during COVID, so it was incredibly difficult. The results, I think, speak for themselves. there was the referendum on the 4th of May this year, where 93% of residents voted to support it, which is a good level of support, an excellent level of support. And I just wanted to very quickly give some quotes from the examiner, who paid tribute to both the substantive and the presentational qualities of that report. So he stated that the vision and objectives were clearly derived from the responses to the consultation and were clearly expressed. He also said that figures, plans and photographs were all of an unusually high standard, being clear, legible and immensely helpful guides to the content and policies of the neighbourhood plan. I conclude that the plan is well researched, well evidenced and clearly laid out and written. There is one factual error to note in the report that I wanted to flag up tonight. So on page 89, in the background section on paragraph 2.4, it states that the pre-submission, the Regulation 14 consultation was undertaken between November and December 2021, but actually, in fact, Hertford Town Council extended the consultation to February 22. So that's just a correction of fact, which hopefully we noted in the minutes. So I'm delighted to propose that we recommend to council that the Kingsmead neighbourhood plan is formally adopted. Is there anyone who would second that? Alex, thank you very much, Alex. So do we have any comments or questions on it? Alex.
I just want to say it's really exciting to see this third neighbourhood plan come into place in Hertford. And that only leaves one ward left where we haven't got a neighbourhood plan. And I think it'd be really good. I realise these are seen as bottom-up kinds of initiatives, and that's really important that it's the voice coming from the local area. But really lovely if we could have one there too, eventually.
Yep, absolutely. Anything else? Any other comments? Yeah, Sarah.
Thank you. I just wanted to echo what you said. I just know that a massive amount of work went into this just through conversations with Councillor Glover Ward. It sounded like a massive undertaking, and it's fantastic that it got such a good level of support from the residents.
No, thanks very much. Any other comments, thoughts? No? Okay, lovely. Thank you very much. The recommendation for this item is detailed on page 87 of the agenda pack. And the recommendation is to recommend to council that the Kingsmead Neighbourhood Area Plan is, as detailed in Appendix A, is formally adopted. So can we have a show of hands for support for that, please? Thanks very much. Any against? No, thank you. Any abstentions? No. Okay, so that's carried. Thank you very much. Yes, that might be good actually. Oh, James will. Oh, thanks, Lorraine. Good. We'll just give her a minute to come back. Oh yeah, she's here. Okay. And no one tell her what I said. Right, item 8 is Harlow and Gilston Garden Town draft stewardship charter for consultation, which is pages 225 to 254 of the agenda pack. I think that's me again. Yeah. So I'm happy to propose that the draft Harlow and Gilston Garden Town Stewardship Charter is approved for consultation. I want to stress this is a draft charter that's going to be going out for consultation. I think that's important to remember. So this draft is a strategic and generic document that sets out the 6 high-level principles for stewardship. It doesn't seek to impose any particular structure or geography for stewardship arrangements across the garden towns. The stewardship arrangements for Gilston can be entirely separate to those in other parts of the garden town areas, and clearly there are a number of specific issues that can and should be addressed with the stewardship of Gilston, and this doesn't preclude those. So this document and the consultation should help ensure that we get the unique, specific solutions for the garden towns. I'm not sure if dates for the formal consultation have been announced, but I understand that there's a proposal for a minimum 8-week consultation period. And I believe this draft has been circulated to all the garden town community groups and parish and town councils for them to comment on. So can I propose this this report and ask for a seconder? Thank you, Vicky. So are there any comments or questions? Eric, over to you.
Thank you, Chairman. As you know, I've had a long-standing relationship with the steering group for Gilston and the Garden Town. Just wanted to get some reassurances from you. I heard you say can be separate. I'd like you to really say they will be separate. I do accept there are strong similarities between the Garden Town stewardship draft and the Place of the People proposals. And the the Gilston stewardship proposal have had a head start. So they've been worked on for much longer, and the Garden Town ones reflect those. I think officers will accept that point. There are, though, other Garden Town work streams coming up, which could have a bearing on this. So that's why I'd like some assurances. The Places for People Gilston stewardship strategy proposes stewardship and community development responsibilities within the Gilston area will be delivered by a new trust, which we funded to own the unadopted community infrastructure. So typically those things that maybe county and highways wouldn't pick up. And they will be responsible for managing a range of assets, including the country parks, community centres, sports facilities, public open space, play areas and allotments. I've lifted that from the Places for People stewardship strategy. So really, can I have your assurance that as stated in the Places for People stewardship model, these functions will remain within the Gilston area solely and will not be ceded to a Garden Town stewardship body? And if that did happen, it would seriously challenge the principle of local accountability. That's really important to me. I've always held that view. The community hold that view, and I think if anything else were to happen, I think that would be an issue, because there are differences. Although the Garden Town is there to manage the infrastructure, and there are bodies that will be set up to do that and will be a partner to that, there are things like stewardship that I think need to remain local. So I would like your assurance that that will be the case. Thanks, Chairman.
Thank you. Should I hand over to you, Kevin, for comment?
Sorry, Chairman.
You want me to?
I'm happy to hear from the officer,
Yeah.
but it's you I'm asking for the assurance. Thank you, Chairman.
Well,
Shall I? Thank you, Lee. Shall I comment first? And
Yeah,
then
I think
obviously,
I think that
Councillor Crystal come back in with thoughts on that. So you've heard very much there that what we're seeking to bring forward here as a partner, as part of the Garden Town, is a set of high-level principles that establish, if you like, what we hope would be seen as very much good practice to be applied across the Garden Town. And as Councillor Crystal referred to there, this doesn't seek to constrain Gilston in any way, other than we're looking for whatever arrangements are put in place at Gilston to aspire to that best practice. So that's the only determinative impact that we're looking for here. My only advice I'd give in relation to that point and about assurances at this stage is that as per the draft Garden Town Charter, we're not seeking to impose any particular solutions. The partners aren't seeking to impose any particular solutions. I would advise that we should likewise keep an open mind in relation to Gilston as to what are the best solutions for stewardship going forward. And just by way of possibly supporting that point with a bit of an example, members will know, of course, we've got very significant transport mode share aspirations for the Garden Town. We're seeking to achieve the delivery of a 60% share of transport travel by active and healthy modes. And in that respect, the residents of the new developments at Gilston are very much likely to want to be able to access services and facilities provided in Harlow, even if it's only the Harlow Town railway station. And you can see an example where active travel modes like the operation of the sustainable transport corridors or cycle hire facilities would be best consolidated in a way that allows that cross-boundary movement. So we wouldn't want to isolate Gilston in that way, where that is detrimental to what we think would be the best interest of the residents. So my advice would be, at this stage, we should keep an open mind. I very much think, supporting Councillor Buckmaster's thoughts there, that the local facilities that you would generally think about as part of stewardship arrangements, green spaces, community buildings, absolutely the best solution there would seem to be local control of those through some form of Gilston body. We are looking to do things, we are looking to achieve different outcomes at Gilston, very much around sustainable travel, building sustainability, other elements of good practice. So I would say we very much recognise the aspirations that residents have in Gilston and want to achieve to deliver around those. But let's not close off options at this stage where they may ultimately be the best ones to achieve the objectives. So that's the advice I'd give at this stage, but I entirely assure you that the allowing this to go forward for consultation certainly does not constrain any options or direct us in one way or the other. So it remains, my advice is we remain in a good open position. Thank you, Leader.
Thanks. Thank you very much. So I think we're clear. We want that.
Can I just come back, Chairman?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I accept the fact that transport infrastructure is a different matter, but I'm also aware that there are some of the partners in the Garden Town who would actually want control over some of the green spaces. They would like more than that, more than the officer was just describing. And that's why I'm really looking for an assurance. I think Councillor Dunlop may have a few things to say as well. Thank you, Chairman.
Right, thank you. Thanks, Eric. Yeah.
I still don't understand why we need to be part of this at all. We are East Hearts. We can set the charter as we want for ourselves. Anything we get involved in here will be compromise. It's bound to be when you're working with more people. I have some other questions around why we're doing it at this stage. We haven't finished the completion of the 106 agreements. So some of the output from that would impact the things that we decide as part of the stewardship. And I don't see any reason to do it at this stage. Gilston is part of East Hertfordshire. We have parish councils. We have completely different structure. I'm not really sure why we need to join with this. And I think that the point has already been made that this is a pull towards Harlow. While yes, it will be accessed, I'm not sure I understand why the stewardship will impact what happens in Harlow.
Okay. No, thank you very much, John. Kevin, do you want to come back in on that?
Thank you, Lily. Yes. So a couple of detail points there about why now and why at all. Why at all? I suppose my advice around that one would be very much about the strengths that we achieve as a result of the partnership. Little bit of history, obviously, for some members. The Garden Town concept came together over the life of the delivery of the district plan when we were looking for significant land for allocation for new development in East Hertfordshire, and obviously that resulted in the allocation for the 10,000 homes at Gilston. At that stage, it was no part of anything bigger, but working with partners through the duty to cooperate, so there's a requirement on us to make sure that our planning strategy, the impacts of our planning strategy are considered beyond the district boundary. We can't operate in isolation, unfortunately. And through that process, we work together with our partners at Harlow and Epping Forest to support the delivery of growth around Harlow as part of a Garden Town. Now that provides significant benefits for us in terms of support from the government for delivery and considerable financial support. And everybody's aware of the HIG arrangements, the £172 million for transport infrastructure. So what I would say is there are significant benefits in partnership, and this is all part of the partnership where across the rest of the sites of Garden Town, stewardship is a very much different place than it is at Gilston. So in Gilston, I think we're in a very good place. There's been a lot of work done locally. You've heard members talk about the local involvement and commitment. We've got an alignment of thinking coming forward locally that sits, I feel, very well within the umbrella of this stewardship charter. Our colleagues and partners across the rest of the Garden Town are, they're nowhere near where we are in relation to this. So this charter very helpful for them and is not unhelpful for us. So that's the reason why we're doing it, to support the wider partnership. And likewise, obviously, as I say, we get a lot of support to deliver on other aspects that we're seeking to achieve as part of the growth. Why at this stage? Yes, again, ideally, this would have been done earlier. We'd have the overarching principles, and then your detail would come along as we'd normally seek to approach these things. Resources, priorities, they're all the reasons why it's coming forward now. Of course, we've been working on the planning applications for Gilston. That's been our main focus for the last couple of years. We've now got time to work up some of these other objectives. As I say, even though ideally it would have come along earlier, it is no detriment to how we bring things forward at Harlow, at Gilston. So it's no detriment to how we bring forwards at Gilston. So sometimes things are not ideal in terms of timing at East Herts, where if we're doing them ourselves, they would be, but it's all part of partnership working, I think, is what I'd say in relation to that. And we're seeking to deliver the best across the whole of the partnership. Hopefully that's helpful. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Kevin. Was that helpful? Did that?
I'm not sure. It's a repetition of things I've heard previously, and I still think that while we're joining in on this, it inevitably will be to our detriment at some point in the future. Not being part of it, it won't be.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Joe.
Thank you, Leader. I think I've been quite open over the last 4 years in terms of raising concerns that residents have brought to me in terms of this development, in terms of the Garden Town. I spoke at the outline planning just before the election, I think, was it in April, where outline planning was granted for Village 7. I made the point that it's very disappointing to have a loss of the green belt in East Herts. And I particularly made the point that I think is the biggest concern to me, that the 40% affordable housing has been reduced to 23%. And that remains something that I'm very disappointed about. I've also made the point in the chamber about consultation, and have we consulted residents in the best way? Have we taken on board residents' views when they've been put forward for consultation? So I'd like to make the point here this evening that what we're doing is we're approving this document to go to the public for consultation. And I would hope that we as a council take fully on board positive and negative feedback that we have, and that is fed back into the final document.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. And that's a good point. And it's what I was trying to get at the beginning. This is a consultation. So, I think that's an important opportunity. Yeah, go, John.
Yes, it will go to a wide consultation, I believe, but that consultation will not just be East Herts. That will be all of Harlow and all of the Harlow Garden Town scope. So you can imagine that consultation will then be very heavily weighted towards the larger population, being Harlow and Essex.
Kevin, is there any way that you would expect to be able to distinguish between responses from residents in different parts of the area? And would you want to distinguish?
Absolutely, Chairman. So that the process we're going to use, not untypical, obviously an online presence, we're using consultation platform, and we're also obviously offering to meet and discuss individually with community groups, parish councils, whoever wants us to do so. Yes, we will certainly be capturing and identifying the location of respondents. So certainly we can do that. And what I would say, of course, is that I understand the point about the population, and clearly the population of Gilston at the moment is limited compared to other parts of the Garden Town. but ultimately in receiving, analysing, dealing with the feedback, it will be the issues that's the driver for us, the issues that are raised. And hopefully just, going back to that point I was making at the beginning, this is all about it's looking to establish good practice, aspirationally good practice for stewardship, so that I would be hopeful that whoever, wherever people comment, they can see, they would be aligned to that as a good overall outcome, that we want to seek the best solutions. So that's that sort of non-geographical, as it were. It's good solutions wherever they're applied. So yes, we can capture and we can analyse on the basis of location, and so we can understand local geographies and how they might be influencing that feedback and those comments.
Okay, no, thank you. Chris.
Thank you, Leader. Just like to put another perspective on this, in that were there to be a development that encompassed Bishop Stortford plus, say, Birchanger, the idea of Birchanger and Bishop Stortford being treated separately in one large development would not make sense to me, because of course the two things would be interlinked. People from Birchanger will be using facilities inevitably from Bishop Stortford. So therefore those two things would have to be married together in an overarching plan such as this. So I would say that I would support having an overarching plan between things that will intrinsically and definitely be linked. I understand that that may not be desirable for some local people in Gilston and that particular ward, that they have so many houses in that area, but the fact they will, and the fact they will use facilities in the nearest town, makes it, to me, inevitable that you have to have that cooperation.
Yeah, no, thanks. That's a good point. And I think, in terms of any party, we, in terms of the Green Party, we're big supporters of local control, and so I think we would always want to see as much controlled locally as possible. I think that just makes so much more sense. But I think we've got to recognise at this stage that there could be issues that bring broader issues that do cover a larger area than just Gilston in itself. But I hear what you say, Eric. I do recognise that is a key issue, absolutely key issue.
It is a very important issue, and I'm sure one that we'll return to.
I can imagine. And I hope it will, because it should. Yeah. Okay. Any other comments, Alex?
Can I ask, are the neighbouring areas of Ware being consulted as well? Like, for example, the town council and so on, because people will go to different areas from this new development.
Shall I? So we're absolutely more than happy to open up as widely as we feel necessary. There's no restriction, obviously. There's no geographical restriction to anybody feeding back on the consultation. So far, specifically, we have already introduced it to the parish councils that are closest to the Gilston area. So Widford, Hunsdon, Eastwick and Gilston, Sawbridgeworth, Much Haddam, only because there's a very small part of the geography sort of wraps down into the Garden Town area. More than happy to widen that up if members feel that's appropriate, and we can take in a wider geography. Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Joe.
Can I ask that the ward of Great Hamble and Stansted is this consultation those parish councils written to as well? Because they certainly do feel that this is something that's encroaching on our local area, and it's the biggest issue for those parish councils.
Graham.
Yeah, Kevin just mentioned Much Haddam, and that comes under me. It's sort of different hat on. And one of the challenges that's faced there is speeding through the village. So it's very important that they are consulted and sort of wider afield. And it is used as a rat run to go to Ware and sort of the A414, etc., etc. So it's really important. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you. Yeah, that's a good point. Alex.
Can I ask, does this stewardship, if when we get to the end of this process, does it preclude these new villages, garden towns, having their own town councils, parish councils like other areas?
Leader, no, it doesn't. So that's certainly a very interesting area that we need to get to grips with. And there's some thoughts emerging locally about how the existing parish councils could possibly be reorganised to come together, work in a different way that, if you like, fits the new geography of the area. So obviously we've got they're very much historical boundaries at the moment for the parishes there. Development of 10,000 homes will ultimately change that geography quite significantly. So that's a good example, a very good example of a sort of local characteristic, a local Gilston characteristic that we, more than happy to work through with the community. What do they feel is the best fit for them and for the area? So doesn't preclude anything, and yet lots of issues to yet be considered in detail there.
Thanks, Kevin. Okay, that's a useful discussion. Thank you very much. Thanks. Good questions. Right. So where did I get to? Oh, I was going to propose the report and ask for a seconder, I think. No, we've done that, haven't we? We're going to go to a vote. So can I have so the recommendation for the executive is that the draft Harlow and Gilston Garden Town Stewardship Charter is approved for consultation. So could I have a show of hands, please? Thank you very much. That's 4. Anyone against? Any abstentions? No. Okay, that's carried. Thank you very much. Item 9 is urgent business. Any urgent business? The answer is no. So I believe that at 9:47 we declare the meeting closed. Sorry. My glasses. Yeah, 19:47. Sorry. Right.